It's season 3, and editor Steve here to kick it off. Just want to give a quick heads up. There are renovations happening beside my house, so if you hear any low-pitched whirring noises, that's what's going on. Anyway, enjoy Baki Hanma. Hello, and welcome back to Baki Talki, Season 3, Episode 1. We're not even talking Baki anymore. We're talking a brand new show, Baki Hanma. It has the same characters, voice actors, I assume studio. I think Netflix just wanted to bring in new people. But it's a new show, and we've got not a new guest. We've got a returning guest this week to discuss the season premiere. It's Ryan.
Yay, I'm here.
Sounding great, Ryan.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, last time you were on the show, you watched an episode from 23 years ago.
Yes.
Yes. A lot has changed. Baki looks different. The art style looks different.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. He's all grown up now. Things are.
The fun thing is, I don't think much time has actually changed in the show. Like, I think it's been maybe a few months or a year or something.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm still not really sure how the timeline kind of connects between all the seasons. So.
Well, Baki's still in high school. This episode is called "The World's Strongest Senior" because he's now a senior. Yeah. But because you're the first guest for the season, we're gonna do the rare treat of getting to talk about the theme song. So I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Oh, you know what? I watched the opening. I didn't actually make too many notes on the opening. I don't even remember it too well. I know I liked it though. I remember watching through it and trying to watch all the characters and stuff. I didn't even think too much about it.
No worries.
But
that's still an impression. Yeah, I liked it. I think it's a bit fun. It's got a fun theme to it. There's one thing I have to research. I feel like there's a part where they just in English say "everybody's fighting now." But they could just be saying something completely different in Japanese. But
I have no idea. I do like the animation though of or just the general art style of everything thus far, because obviously I watched the Wrong episode before watching the very old one, so it's nice to kind of see the more kind of modern take on it. Kind of seeing it through the opening was interesting.
Yeah, it's a good looking show. I find sometimes they don't move a lot, so you're left with beautiful images. But
that is true, yeah. But when things the actual fight sequences though are very well done.
Mm-hmm.
They know where to put the money.
Exactly. All right, so the episode after the theme song, we get about 5 seconds where Baki says, "What am I up to? I'm gonna fight my dad," and then we get a symbolic headbutt between them.
What am I up to now? Well, just another squabble with my old man.
Before we go into the real opening of this episode, where we go to a press conference in Africa. Ryan, can you just walk me through this scene?
Yeah, all right. So it opens up. There's with the media conference going on, and there's a bunch of people kind of interviewing some sort. I'm not really sure who he is. If it's some military commander guy or a park ranger or something.
I think he's a park ranger that apparently has the authority to call on the military.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I got. But yeah, they're all the media. They're accusing him of his use of excessive force in dealing with a very large elephant.
Mr. Saman, are you aware that your recent actions have been drawing criticism from all over the world?
Yes, I am.
Just to clarify, you called in the army to hunt down a single African elephant. It's that decision that's left the whole world in shock.
And I was taken back a little bit because I was like, I was under the impression this was like a very like martial arts, kind of show, and I was expecting, the episode I watched before is like it felt like it was a tournament arc type of deal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, now we're fighting elephants. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But like this elephant was like a giant elephant, and it's like the size of like many like houses. And
do you think that we're talking about an ordinary African elephant here?
What the heck does he mean by that?
Look, all of us have seen the aerial photographs of the incident. Are you saying it wasn't an African elephant?
Go to the site and take a look at the carcass yourself. It's ridiculously large. It's extraordinary. Frankly, it's like something out of the prehistoric times.
It was cool though. I liked how they kind of talked about. It was just like a few lines of dialogue, but they're talking about like some like the ecological effects that this elephant was like having like on the area, and how it was affecting like all like the wildlife and everything. And I like when they include little bits like that, kind of like makes them feel more real, I guess.
Yeah,
in like shows, like the like giant monsters that come in, like this big like flying dragon. It's like for this creature to actually exist, like there's a lot that really has to go right for it.
Yeah, you'd have if you have a big flying dragon, you probably need like an equally large cow or something that it eats upon, and like then you need large trees, or I don't know. Getting into the weeds.
There's a lot of things, but they're talking about like how it's just been like devastating like all the wildlife and eating it, and like how it is like a problem, and like it's gotta go. Yeah. Like it's just like a few lines of dialogue, but just like I love that it was there. And then there's like this kind of like big reveal by the park ranger military guy that it wasn't actually his forces that took down the elephant, but it was this singular mysterious man.
But before we get into who defeated the elephant, I just wanted to touch on the description of what happened. So he was, the international media is upset that he brought in the army to kill one African elephant. He says his only mistake is that he didn't bring enough soldiers.
The methods we used weren't wrong. If we made any kind of mistake at all in the way we handled this, it's in the number of troops that we deployed and the kinds of weapons we chose to use against that monster. And frankly, I think we should have called it an airstrike.
That he should have called it an airstrike. And my personal favorite line, they didn't even get a shot off.
In the end, we weren't even able to get one single shot fired off.
So this elephant...
Yeah. They got wrecked by an elephant. I don't
understand how that happens. Like, did the elephant, zoom up on you? Like...
it has had to have been, a super speed elephant. Like, they weren't, saying this elephant had, superpowers. Didn't have, eye lasers or anything like that. So,
maybe
it's still just an elephant, right?
Yeah.
Not a single bullet was fired? Is this the elephant? Is this the elephant, or is this from the military here? Did you just pull the trigger on your gun, man? Just shoot it. Is this really that difficult?
The entire regiment were full of conscientious objectors. They were just like, no, we can't fight an elephant. And those were their last words. They were gored to death.
Yeah. It's I get the idea behind it, just trying to it's this all powerful god elephant type of deal. I understand what they're going for, but realism, come on, the military should have at least put up for a little bit of a fight. But
yeah, it's not gonna go past the suspension of disbelief to be oh yeah, the bullets didn't do anything to this 30-foot tall elephant. I'd buy that,
Yeah, they can go with that. It's just not a single scratch on this giant elephant. It's crazy.
But as you alluded to, one man does show up to defeat Africa's apex predator. It is, of course, Yujiro Hanma. So do you know Yujiro from the previous episode?
I don't recall the name. I know it's talked about a little later in the episode who that is. I don't know, did they describe how he actually took down the elephant? I don't know if they really went into details.
I think if they did, it would have sounded really silly, because there's no real way for somebody to use martial arts to defeat.
I want a scene where you just suplexing the elephant and just kind of bringing it down or something else.
That'd be great.
We didn't get that though.
He
Got, like,
grabs like his entire body around one of the arms and twists it.
Yeah. We got like a little scene there where he's like camping out. Like, at first I thought he was like eating the elephant, but I think it was like a different animal or
I
something.
think he was eating the elephant. I think that was like a victory.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh man. I wonder, like, I guess I'm not supposed to wonder what an elephant tastes like, but
Hey,
don't know.
with lab grown meat becoming a possibility,
Ooh.
you too can eat elephant meat.
I'd give it a try. Maybe probably be very fatty.
Listeners, if you've eaten an elephant before or fought one to the death, make sure to leave a comment in the Discord.
I'm gonna be really concerned if someone's eaten an elephant before.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna turn them into the authorities.
Yeah. Let that be known, guys.
Yeah. So Yujiro Hanma kills the elephant. The press conference ends on a bit of a fun note where I wrote down his name somewhere. I think it's like Mr. Salmon. The park ranger says, "That's what happened, believe it or not." And then as he's leaving, he's like, "Why would anybody believe this? I don't even believe this."
Then again, why would you believe it? Even I don't. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
I thought it was fair.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's like it's an insane story, and like obviously, like I don't have this, a good understanding of like the world, and like he's saying there's this gigantic elephant running around Africa or whatever, and it's causing so okay, of course, sure, that is weird, right? But yeah, it's just like, yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty unbelievable.
I would
And
say
if there's like a big international press conference, that's a weird way to end one. It's like what do you talk about? Like, this is the truth. This is what happened. But like,
it is true. Any other press conference ending that way, like imagine imagine JFK just like, "We've landed on the moon. But if you don't believe me, I don't know what to tell you. I don't even
that's
believe
it.
it myself.
I gotta go."
See you later. Yeah, and then the end of Saman's story is his son, Julio, I think.
Julio, Julio.
Listen,
Yeah, it's a little scene there. They're
Yeah.
talking about it.
I like that scene because what is it? He had a line that I thought sort of I guess lampshades the show, where he said, "This story is so insane, no rational adult would believe this."
Yeah, that definitely felt like that was a more a lampshady line for sure. That was they're talking about a lot more than that.
Also,
But it was a good scene though, because it's also reaffirming that like the world doesn't believe him. This is this absolute insane like occurrence, and the world just kind of thinks that this Mr. Salmon is a liar, right?
yeah.
Daddy? You know I believe you, Daddy.
To be honest, he should be like, from the world's perspective, this man should be behind bars. He led an entire expedition, or an entire brigade of his country's military to their death, fighting one elephant.
Yeah, this is probably millions of dollars worth of resources, right? Like that's a pretty big deal for an elephant, and to also just kind of admit, it's like we spend all these millions of dollars on this men and just all of our ammunition and all the equipment, and all of it's garbage, and we did not actually accomplish our task. It was someone else entirely. It's a pretty bold statement.
For that? There's like a special medal for being killed by an elephant.
I hope so. Imagine like having that just like on like their gravestone or whatever. Have this like full cemetery, just like the great battle of the elephant or whatever. all the brave soldiers that couldn't get a single shot off on the elephant.
Loving son, faithful husband, gored by elephant. never reached his trigger. It's absolutely crazy. And I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but like, crazy things happen in Baki. But I think that this is probably the most ridiculous thing that's happened in the show up till now. I don't think there's been anything close. Like, there used to be a society of giant apes that lived in Japan that they fought, but like this elephant's 8 times bigger.
Yeah, like it's a really really big elephant. Like they didn't show it too much, but like the couple of kind of frames they had it on there, like it's a big elephant. So
but the
I
media only
assume
saw
that'll
aerial
be
photos, so
yeah. Oh yeah, totally. So completely unbelievable.
So in a typical episode, this would be the highlight. But I also really enjoyed the next part of the episode where we meet some random fucking kid. And I think the first lines about him are his friends saying,
Think he'll go in? No way. What are we gonna do if he doesn't? Tease him till he commits suicide.
make him go into the school, and if he doesn't, we'll bully him till he commits suicide.
Yeah, the moment they said that, I was like, oh, okay. Like that is a bold like thing to say. Just like in like any like kind of media form. Like holy.
Yeah.
Like, that is dark.
Maybe this is like Netflix, like just coming off 13 Reasons Why. They're like, this is a very important topic for us.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, like, they don't really like talk about it too much after that. It's like, oh, this is like these kids mean business.
Yeah. But yeah, so why don't you walk us through the story of I got his name written down. Rumina Ayukawa.
Okay, great, because I did not remember his name at all. He was just the kid to me. Yeah, so it starts off, and we don't like have full context into kind of what's going on. They're just kind of like, he's got these like 3 kids kind of bullying the kid into I guess entering into some high school. Mm-hmm. He has like a knife, and I guess the goal was to kind of walk in, approach some of the high schoolers and be like, yo, bring out your strongest, or something like that. And it's like, that's quite the like dare, essentially.
I hated in high school when like the middle schoolers would come over and tell me to bring out the strongest guy.
Yeah, and they always have a knife.
The knife was nobody even respected that knife, you know. Even like the mooks that he was talking to were just like, this kid's got a knife.
Yeah.
This kid's threatening us! He's come to wipe us out! Let me get this straight. You came here to pick a fight with us?
It's just like a weird thing. So like I don't like, at the time I didn't really know like the significance of like what he was kind of asking, right? Mm-hmm. I kind of figured it out after, obviously, but at the time I was just like, oh, that's like a pretty bold kid. Quite the thing to ask, but I guess after he kind of like asks for that, the high schoolers that he's talking to, they kind of actually like, they still kind of like laugh it off, but they also kind of still respect him in a sense, I guess. Yeah. And that they're like, you know, can't bring him now, but you know, go wait by this river downtown or whatever, and we'll tell the strongest guy to come make a little stop for you, type of deal. And he walks out and tells his friends, is like, yeah, like the kid actually did it. He kind of followed through with the little dare, and it's a pretty big deal for him. Pretty big balls on the kid to kind of go for that. I suppose it still seems like a pretty strange dare to me to kind of begin with, but I don't know.
When they give him, it's a very high stakes dare. Take this knife, go threaten some high schoolers.
It's like, go walk into high school with a knife. It's like, oh, hold on.
Yeah, and also the world of this is just that like a lockdown is immediately called. Baki just has to stay at his class.
There's a middle schooler walking around the halls with a knife. Man.
Times were different back when this was written.
Yeah, I apparently.
Oh man. So we eventually cut to the lake, where Rumina and his 3 bullies or friends, tough to tell, are hanging out with each other, and Baki eventually comes by. This I love this because you think that, you know, this is like an opportunity for Baki. Like Baki is so above this, like he is above the high schoolers. He is above 90% of the fighters on this show. Like he clearly does not need to go all out against a child. However, Ryan, what happens?
Man, I wasn't sure what to expect, but yeah, I see him beat Baki. He makes his way down, talks to the kid, and the kid's like, "Oh man, he actually he showed up." And then like, I think the kids are kind of like inner monologue. It's like, "Oh, like he's actually here," and then Baki like starts like taking off like his shirt or whatever because he sees the knife, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna use that," and the kid's like, "Oh my god, like Baki's actually gonna he's actually gonna fight me,"
Yeah.
and he's like realizing oh my god, like I'm not. I didn't think he actually would.
I was bullied into this, but not once did I really believe that a high schooler would seriously agree to take on an elementary school student. I thought he'd just give me a big smile and take it easy on me. I was so wrong.
And then Baki just kind of goes in for it, kind of like one of those little anime kind of teleport things the side of him,
Yep.
and he just gives him a massive smack on his ass, leaves like this huge like imprint, and just like knocks him like way out into the water, kind of skips a few times, like a little skipping stone.
Even if I live to be 80 years old, this will undoubtedly be my greatest shock.
And it was a good way to handle it, because like for me also, like I don't know Baki, I don't fully know everything about him.
Yep.
So like I wasn't fully sure what to expect. I wasn't sure if like Baki just gonna like am I just about to watch like Baki just punch this kid out. I was like, okay, like that was quite the show. It's like you just gonna like pound him into the ground, just completely annihilate him.
Well, it did look like he was going to murder him. Like, there's several shots of Baki, and the way they're framing it is Baki is about 7 times taller than the kid, and looks like just red eyes. No compassion, no kindness in them. So it's a nice middle ground that he just spanks the kid's ass as hard as he can and sends him skipping across the lake. I also really loved that when the kid got hit, he just went, "My ass!"
yeah, that was so succinct.
The world's strongest disappeared right before my eyes. My eyes!
Oh, man.
But the one thing I did notice, you mentioned it there, but they had a lot of like the dramatic effect on like the size of Baki kind of being from like the kid's perspective, right? Like the kid kind of notes that Baki is like technically he's a little bit shorter than he was expecting. But every time they have like from the kid like kind of looking up at Baki, you see that sheer like size of him, right? And obviously, it's being done in a way to kind of just show the sheer kind of like skill and like terror that like Baki is kind of like instilling in this kid, even though he actually is, a short. I don't know his actual height, but
I think he's like 5'4" or something. Actually, I think
5'4"?
when he goes to prison, we'll get to see his he has a mugshot with his height, so I'll fact check that.
But yeah, like there's definitely a lot of care taken to kind of really play up to like the frightening kind of presence that Baki has to this kid. But it was cool. Definitely artistic choices were made with it that I think are pretty important to just kind of everything. I feel because I have some theories about future episodes as well, and I think that's
Ooh, I can't wait to hear that at the end.
yeah, well. Yeah.
Well, that's the two big exciting parts. There is a little bit more in the episode though. First off, our friend Gary with a G, or Jerry with a G, Stridham appears.
Oh, Captain Stridham!
He, of course, is a member of the U.S. military who comes to talk to Baki about how he's going to fight his dad. He considers that Baki fighting his dad is the same as 2 countries going to war.
Yeah.
What do you think that's a fair take?
I mean, I don't fully know like the significance of Baki's dad. Like I would assume he's this extremely powerful individual or whatever. And I'm trying to recall here. It said that like Baki's father was the one who killed the elephant, right? Is that what it was? Yeah. So obviously he's in this incredibly strong presence. But I mean, if there's like deeper like political backings and like reasonings for Baki's side and going to fight his father, and he starts kind of talking.
Yeah, there's not too much political stuff. Like Yujiro once fought the U.S. military and beat them, but
Yeah.
you know, this is a world where an elephant can beat a Kenyan army, so the military is never that impressive in Baki.
Now they start talking about a ninja called the ogre. Is the ogre supposed to be Baki's dad? Because in my perspective, I wasn't sure if that was.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yujiro Hanma, the ogre.
Okay, that makes more sense then. Because I was trying to like place some of these like names and it did not connect in my head, but that makes more sense now.
Yeah, it's funny.
Right.
This series probably should be called Son of Ogre, because I think that's what the manga was called during this arc. But they probably thought people would think that it's a Shrek thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I imagine the major conversation there, I'm going to assume, is kind of just setting up for a lot of what the arc is going to be largely about, of course. So
yeah, well, this episode is setting a lot of like thematic stuff. Like even Julio and Mr. Saman talking about fathers and sons and like their relationship.
Who do you think could beat him in a fight, Daddy?
I don't think anybody could, son.
Even if there was someone just like him? Like maybe his son, once he's all grown up?
Maybe.
It's going to become it's always been a part of Baki, but it's going to go back into the focus for about maybe 2 episodes this season, and then Baki goes to jail. Anyway, so before the episode ends, we are introduced to Baki has sort of he doesn't really have linear growth. He sort of just comes up with things as the season goes on. So like before the anime started, but after your first episode, Baki unlocked his demon back and became a lot stronger. Then he started having sex, which made him even stronger. His newest technique, though, is his shadow boxing. So can you walk me through the rules or how shadow boxing works with Baki? Because it's a bit different than with normal people, I'd say.
Okay, so see, I wasn't sure the major thing when I was watching the scene kind of play, because they talked a little bit about what shadow boxing is in the real world, and now it is a thing.
It's a good thing this
makes
random
sense.
kid knows a bit about boxing.
I know a lot about boxing.
Yeah, but then Baki starts doing it because he's looking for like an opponent to just kind of like spar with like on the fly here, and I was unsure if Baki physically had the like ability to like physically apparate like conjurations of like these like world famous boxers to spar against, because like they're talking about it and he's like starts like kind of sparring in the street and the kid starts kind of like looking on at like what's going on and the kid's all like I see it, like I can see the person that he's like boxing, and then I'm all like well, hold on, it's like, did he actually make something, or is this just like, is this more just kind of like another kind of like display of like Baki's like skill, or is this like some weird like magical trait that he has, like what's fully going on? I'm gonna be under the impression that kind of they talk about a little bit more afterwards, that it's not, he didn't physically like create some sort of like manifestation or like an entity of some kind that he was boxing against. I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. So, and it was more, I don't know. Yeah, you fill in the blanks here for me, because I was.
No, that's fair. Because I would say that the answer to the question is yes and no. Like, for all intents and purposes, he is summoning this being into existence that can punch him, make him go flying, and all this stuff that a shadow can do. But at the same time, it canonically is just something that he is imagining really hard, and it's not real.
I can't pretend I'm not seeing what I'm seeing. It's definitely happening. The opponent that Baki's imagining is a boxer.
Neither explanation really makes total sense, so I sort of believe that both are true.
Okay, yeah, I can see it, yeah, because then I feel like the kid's there, and with the kid kind of being able to see it, I feel like, it's trying to think about the how to describe this. The kid being able to like see it. It's more of like the show kind of attesting to the talent of Baki, and kids watching Baki's moves kind of like fight against this boxer, and like seeing like how Baki's like fight like on the offensive and on the defensive, and also kind of gets like fully injured. And I feel like from the kid's perspective, like he's able to, because he knows a little bit about boxing, he can really like see the individual and kind of how Baki is fighting against him. He even is able to pick out the name of the boxer because of like how into it Baki is, being the Iron Michael, I think is
Michael,
the name.
One of my favorites.
Body. From watching his performance, it's all completely clear. The person that Baki's fighting is a former undisputed world heavyweight champion. It's Iron Michael himself.
This show loves to make very clear parodies. We had Muhammad Ali last season, but they added an I to the end of it, or an A to the end of his name. And now we've got Iron Mike, who is, for all legal intents, not Mike Tyson.
Yeah, it was cool to see though. It was definitely an interesting little scene to kind of just like, because it wasn't like a hard like fight scene in this episode. It's just episode 1, not getting into any like crazy big high stakes fights or anything, but kind of getting that little like bit of action there, even though he's only kind of fighting against this like kind of spectral wispy being in front of him. It was cool to see, and I actually really enjoyed that scene with the kid kind of just commenting over it as he was watching it kind of unfold.
Well, if you like that, you gotta watch the next episode. But I won't spoil more than that. I did just want to touch on the last aspect of this episode that I think is worth bringing up, which is Baki sort of explaining the idea of shadow boxing, and he uses a metaphor about plums and lemons.
Check it out. In my hands, I'm holding 5 pickled plums and a nice big slice of lemon.
Is that what you would have used to describe how it works if you were explaining it to 3 children you've never met before?
Plums, I mean, using food of any kind is probably a good way to do it. But it's definitely a bit of a weird one. But I mean, the idea behind it just kind of being able to like will it into existence, right? Is more kind of what he's doing with the kids, and when he's talking about with like the sourness of it, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of
I just worry whenever, like, if I had just met a child on the street, I probably wouldn't say like I'm gonna shove a plum and hold their mouth so they can't spit it out.
And I'm gonna shove them all right into your mouths. Oh, and I'll cover your mouths too, so there's nothing you can do about it except chew it all up and swallow it down.
The only thing you could do is swallow these things I'm shoving in your mouth here. You have no other choice.
And I also wouldn't want to leave the scene with all of these 10-year-old kids drooling. I would find that I don't know. What if somebody walked over at this point?
It's really, really easy for like an onlooker to just kind of misunderstand what's going on. But even when they do understand it, and it's like, oh, you give them the full context. It's like, what's going on? The context didn't help.
No, you don't understand. I was fighting. I was shadow boxing.
I'm shadow boxing with the kids. It's lemons. What are you talking about?
I was shadow boxing. That's how I got this bruise. Oh no! You're doing it wrong. Now I have some lemons in my hand. Oh my god! Great episode. Great start. I loved it. So yeah, I guess you've now watched about 2 episodes 20 years apart. What do you think of the new stuff? Do you think it's gotten better?
It's just like very different. I think I talked about it a little bit in the last time I watched like the super old one, and it felt like because obviously this one didn't have like any like crazy fight scenes or anything, so I don't have a really like perfect comparison, right? But it felt like that one was very grounded in kind of some like the fighting that they were doing. They're still very much glorified and kind of some anime craziness going on, right?
Like when Baki kicked him in the knee so hard that he fixed it.
Yeah, but you still have like things like that. But it's like there's not like jumping off the walls and like blasting each other and doing like, whatever, doing crazy anime stuff. It felt like that was like very much kind of focused in just straight martial arts. I do kind of get the sense that this like this version of it is probably a little bit more kind of dialed up a little bit, especially when they kind of like bring in like this giant elephant and this man just kind of single-handedly killing the elephant or whatever. I feel like the zaniness, I guess, just maybe up a few notches potentially. I don't know fully. But I just both very different. I like them both a lot though, both styles of it.
Yeah, no, I love it. And you were saying you had some theories about where things might be going.
Yeah. So like originally when they kind of like because they open with the elephant, and I was kind of watching like that scene. It's like this like massive elephant, and they kind of have this like singular kind of frame of like this man kind of fighting against or whatever, but like from the perspective it's very much just done to kind of like show the sheer size of the elephant. And then they kind of do the same thing with the little kid and Baki to kind of show the sheer size of Baki. From my kind of little perspective going into this, there seems to be like kind of like a bit of a narrative focus on kind of the size and just kind of the largeness of people in both like a physical and kind of metaphorical sense.
Thank God I brought this up again. The theme of the episode, big and small.
And what I want to see is, if I were to continue watching, is I want giant monsters. I want more giant elephants. Maybe not just giant elephants. Maybe other animals, other giant like gorillas and stuff. Because it's my understanding that other the other like seasons or whatnot have kind of been more of a focus on like actual just people fighting people. You mentioned there was like some giant like gorillas or people or whatever at one point, but it'd be cool to kind of see Baki maybe take on something more like animalistic, fighting against these like giant like elephants, and where it's just like this is a physically giant elephant, but for him he's more of like a metaphorically kind of giant person, and it kind of turns into almost like kaiju style fights of just like Baki being this like huger than life kind of person taking on these huge, like physically huge threats. I want Baki to fight Godzilla.
I don't like getting wet.
Is basically kind of where I'm going with this.
Netflix has the anime rights to both. This would be a perfect opportunity. Yeah, no, it's. I like what you're thinking, and I think we will get a little bit of that. I'll tell you after the record, so I don't spoil anything.
Sure, yeah. I want. I also like there to be an explanation for why there was a giant elephant. Like I don't know if that's just like a freak accident.
You're out of luck. You're not.
So it's just like it was just running around.
It just happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you could put that for 90% things about Baki. That just happens.
It just happens. Yeah.
Well, but that's why we have Yujiro. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, Ryan, and thanks for kicking off season 3. This was a blast.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Should I? I'm very torn on if I should watch the rest of it or not. I feel like I probably should. I might just go binge the rest now.
Definitely watch episode 2 and then make the call. I think you'll enjoy that one.
Yeah. Maybe I'll watch that right when we're done here.
Okay. Well, that's all the Baki we've got to talk. So I'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Friday.